Hey, I'm Brian Francis, president of Lumen Strategies. We're a strategic communications firm that helps chambers of commerce create, implement, and execute advocacy programs. For 2023, we're providing monthly legislative video updates as a complimentary service to CACCE members. Now, if you missed it, we did an election recap for you in November, and there's a link in your email if you'd like to go back and watch it. This month, we're trying to put a bow on the 2022 season and look ahead to next year. Now, I say trying to put a bow on 2022 because I really expected to be telling you that the General Assembly had adjourned sine die. The sine die is Latin for without a date, and it means that the General Assembly has adjourned without a date to return. They are done. And I thought that would be the action they would be taking last week when they reconvened for a no-vote session. Instead, they have set dates to reconvene this week, again, for more no-vote sessions. And while we don't expect any new legislation to be passed before the new General Assembly convenes in January, until this General Assembly adjourns sine die, there's always a chance. Now, as I said, the new General Assembly convenes in January, specifically on January 11th, and they'll have 71 Republicans and 49 Democrats in the House, 30 Republicans and 20 Democrats in the Senate. Now, legislators are going to come back for an opening day session that will be largely ceremonial, with members being sworn in and leadership being formally elected. Both House Speaker Tim Moore and Senate President Pro Tem Phil Berger have received the nomination of their caucuses, and we expect them to be reelected to lead their bodies. Now, there is a change in the Senate leadership as Cabarrus County Senator Paul Newton takes over the role of Majority Leader from Gaston County's Kathy Harrington, who did not seek re-election to the Senate. Now, as for the calendar, as I mentioned, after that first largely ceremonial day, they'll then take 2 weeks off before reconvening. And during that time, the houses will organize, make committee appointments, find their offices. Now, here's a quick reminder of what the schedule looks like during a long session, which is what we have next year. After convening in January, members will have about 3 months to file bills. The budget will begin in earnest in mid-April after the Department of Revenue makes tax projections based on the actual filings from the April returns. Sometime around mid-May, the legislature will have what they call crossover. Now, that's the date that most bills have to pass one house or the other in order to remain eligible. And the fiscal year for the state ends on June 30th, and hopefully we'll have a new budget by then. However, most years the budget slips into July or later, and the state keeps operating at its current spending limits. Now, most of the General Assembly's work will hopefully be concluded by the end of the summer, though it's really too early to say. Unlike some states, the North Carolina Constitution doesn't set a firm date for when the session must end. With these updates, we'll be digging deeper into the policy issues that are expected to dominate 2023, beginning in our January update. We expect Medicaid expansion, sports betting, medicinal marijuana, and others to be revisited because they ultimately stalled during this year's session. We also expect more work to be done to transition our transportation funding away from the declining motor fuels tax, and we expect serious debates on ways to strengthen the labor pool, especially by addressing childcare accessibility and affordability. As I mentioned, we'll be back in January with a closer look at some of the big issues impacting businesses that the General Assembly will be taking on. And if you think videos like this would be of value to our members, we'll be producing weekly legislative updates for chamber subscribers in 2023. Check us out at lumenstrat.com or email me at bfrancis@lumenstrat.com if you'd like to get some more information. We'll see you in January, and we hope you have a happy holiday.